Every now and then, I sit and I think about when I first started out making music videos. What would I have changed? What would I have done differently? These are 5 things that, without a doubt, I would have done differently. So if you're just starting out making music videos, or if you're in any part of your career doing any of these things that I'm about to say, you might want to rethink these. All right, let's get into it. Contrary to belief, with the influx of YouTube, it might feel like you have to actually own everything that you shoot and use for your shoots. That's not really how the filmmaking industry is. If you didn't know, most directors, and honestly a lot of DPs, don't actually own the camera rig setups that they use for projects. They don't own the lights, they don't own the locations, they just rent everything. If I was just starting out making music videos right now with the knowledge that I have, I would definitely rent before I purchased any of these really expensive camera rigs. I talk to a lot of creators right now, they hit me up and they have really expensive camera setups. They have FX3s with G Master lenses, or they have Canon R5s with RF glass, and they have really expensive gimbal setups, and they have really expensive lights. And they're asking me how they can get clientele. And it's like, yo, it's crazy to me that people own really expensive rigs, but they don't do projects that will pay these rigs off in time. It just does not make sense for a lot of people to own these really expensive camera setups. Just rent gear. Just rent gear on a project to project basis. Get what you can get what you can afford. And then in the future, whenever you're doing projects, if you want to use these things, you can just quote the client for the rental package, add it into the budget, and use that setup for that project. You don't have to own the new Komodo X. You don't have to own a FX6. You don't have to own a C70. You don't have to own an FX3. You can really own an APS-C sensor Sony camera or an APS-C sensor Canon camera and just use that with a budget lens on projects that don't require these really expensive setups. Or you can use these until you actually get the gigs that pay for these really expensive setups. It just does not make sense for a lot of people. And I sympathize with creators right now who are just starting out making music videos, because I also felt like, dang, I want to use 5D Mark III. I want to test out a Red. I want to test out Quasar Science tubes for music videos, but I just didn't have the money to buy these things. And back then I couldn't rent because I'm in a small town and I just didn't have the websites that we have now. Now you got borrow lenses, you got lens rentals, you got rental houses in the hubs. You can literally just go down the street, rent this stuff, use it on a project to project basis, and not go broke buying a bunch of gear that you just aren't going to use, man, or a lot of gear that just doesn't pay for itself over time. I also made a lot of purchases in my filmmaking career just off the recommendations solely from people that I've seen online because I didn't test the gear out, or I thought about all these different scenarios that I can use filmmaking gear in, like drones, for instance, and I bought it and I just didn't use it for anything after the fact. So I wasted a lot of money in that when I could have just rented it out, tested it, seen if I liked it, seen if it was actually a viable option for the projects that I was going to be doing in the future. Then if I needed it, I could have bought it. And I know it's a lot of people who are renting on a project to project basis, and it's so often that it makes sense to purchase these things. And in that case, that's when you buy stuff. If I was just starting out music videos right now, for sure, I would rent the gear before I bought it. When you're first starting out making music videos, you don't have experience. You don't have experience selling projects to clients. You don't have experience shooting projects. So you really just price low. You know, you need the experience. You need to figure out how good you actually are. You don't really know what the competition is charging. So you just kind of jump out the window with something like $100, $150 for music videos. And that was me. But if I was gonna start again right now at this current moment, I would for sure charge a lot more money for my music videos. One thing to think about is just doing a simple evaluation of how many hours you're spending on set, how many hours you're spending editing, and how much you're getting paid, and just break that down into an hourly rate. A lot of people making music videos right now are making a lot less money than the job that they left to do music videos full time. And in that turn, you might want to reevaluate either how much you're charging or if this is the correct field of filmmaking that you want to get into, because you can do a lot of other things in filmmaking that make a lot more money most of the time. So if I was gonna start out right now, what I would do is anybody who was inquiring to me for any music videos, I would just completely shoot for the moon, because you never really know what a client or a potential client is gonna say. I can't tell you how many times in the past that I've had the opportunity to quote a price for a project and just completely like went way over what I thought that I was actually gonna get for it, like 3 to 4 times. And then the potential client replies back like, okay, cool, where do I send a deposit? And it's like, oh, I never would have got that unless I asked for it. Most of the time, the only thing that they're gonna do is just counter offer. So if you're gonna shoot for the moon, make sure you shoot over what you want to get paid, because they'll just dial it back down to what you actually want to get paid. And in turn, that's a win in itself. So just shoot for the moon, charge more for your projects, make it make sense financially. This is probably one of the most important things that I would have done if I was starting on music videos today. I would document my journey. I would pull out my phone and I would film myself getting my camera in the mail for the first time, get my lens, taking it out the box, how excited I was. I would document myself out taking pictures of flowers with my brand new 50mm f1.8 lens. I would have documented myself looking at the music videos that inspired me. I would have documented myself on my first set, my first time I was stressed on set, the first time I wanted to quit music videos. These are all really important moments in your career. And I think that these things get overlooked because of how long the journey seems. When you get further into your career where you got a bunch of shoots under your belt, you got a bunch of stress under your belt, you ready to quit, you ready to give up, you feel like you aren't where you should be in your career, it's very easy to get discouraged. But if you have this documentation of where you've come from, and you can go back and look at the things that you were into at that time and be cringy about it, like, ugh, I used to like that. Or like, you can go back and look at the project that you made in the past, like, oh dang, that was trash, I actually thought I was good. Then you can see this journey and how far you've actually come. It's a lot easier to get out of these slumps that you might find yourself in creatively that are perfectly normal. We all get into these slumps and we all feel like we're not progressing as fast as we should be, or we aren't where we think we should be in our career. But looking backwards helps alleviate a lot of this stress. And you can't do that if you're not documenting yourself. Another thing about documentation right now, currently in 2023, is that it's the most intriguing form of content on social media, which is wild because if you think about a couple years ago, the name of the game was hold your creative process as sacred as possible. Don't let anybody in your creative process, don't let them know how you did this effect, how you shot this. But now it's like the most intriguing form of social media content. It's so cool to be able to go to creators that you look up to and look and see what they're doing throughout their day. Look how they shot this project that you just love, or look into how they colored this project that you love, or how they took this photo. And if you're not documenting yourself, you're not giving yourself a fair opportunity to be able to just build your brand beyond just how you shoot videos. As of lately, I've been sharing a lot of my personal creative documentation on Vero. Now, one of the reasons why I absolutely love Vero as a social media platform to post my documentation to is just the sheer amount of different forms of media that I can share. Obviously, I can post my photos, my videos, but I can also tap into my personality a little bit by sharing the movies and TV shows that I'm into. I can post the books that I recommend for other creators to check out. I can post the music that I'm currently listening to. I can post the places that I enjoy going. I love the amount of different types of media that I can share on Vero. It helps me really tap into my personality and my creative process a little bit more than just posting a photo or a video from a set that I shot. I also really enjoy Vero as an addition to the social media space right now because it's a lot less algorithmically influenced, which in turn for me personally makes it feel like it's so much more free to post whatever I want to. I don't have to post a 45 to 60 second vertical video with fast edits and a caption on it so people can read what's happening. I can just post whatever I want to, and I don't really feel guilty or feel influenced to do what I see so much on the platform. I feel that in itself just really helps me tap into my creativity and helps me really focus on documenting and posting the documentation and not really veering off into these things that get views or likes. So if you aren't using Vero, I highly recommend it. It's gonna be a link down in the description for you guys to check it out. If you are already on Vero, make sure to follow me. Use this hashtag whenever you post so I can check out and see what you guys are into, because I'm looking for some new people to follow on the platform. Link down in the description, make sure you guys check it out. When I first started out making music videos, I owned a camera, I had a bunch of lenses, I had a glide cam, I had a shoulder rig. I had so many different gadgets before I purchased a proper lighting fixture. And I think that was like a huge mistake on my part. I always wonder, why are my videos not leveling up to the level of the amount of money that I'm investing into the gear that I'm buying? And the reason was I wasn't buying lighting. Lighting is what really transforms projects. It's what really makes projects different. It's really how you express emotion, and it's really how you push a project forward. Lighting is really king. Like, if you get a general scope on lighting and you understand what lighting is doing and you learn how to shape lights, this in itself will help improve any setup that you're using. It doesn't matter if you have a Rebel T2i with a kit lens, or you have an iPhone, or you got an Android. If you know how to use lights, this is what's really gonna advance your skills in filmmaking and make your projects look so much better. Another thing about lighting right now is that good lights are cheap. You can get a really nice 200-watt light fixture right now for like less than $300, which is crazy and unheard of if you think about it back in the day. I used to use these really cheap soft boxes back in the day that had like just regular light bulbs that you screw into them. You can get a really nice lighting fixture right now for the same price that I paid back in the day for that sort of stuff, which is crazy. If I was gonna start right now, I would 100% buy lights before I invested into the latest Ronin or the latest gimbal or the latest slider or the latest lens or the latest camera body. Get your lighting right. I'm telling you, it will help your career way faster than any camera or lens setup will. When I first started out making music videos, I would allow the artists to come up with all the ideas for the shoot. I would just pull up with my camera, my lens, my Ronin, and I would just follow the artist throughout the day. They wanted to go to the mall, I would go to the mall with them. They wanted to go to their hood, I would go to their hood with them. They wanted to go to a club at nighttime at 2 a.m., I would go there with them, film their cars, film them jumping around in front of their homies. And in turn, a video that probably should have took only 2 hours to do would turn into a video that took 12 hours to do. Like, it was miserable on set for me when I first started making music videos. I 100% wish that I would have valued my time a lot more than I did. One thing that I wish I would have did is I would have set a solid start and end time for the shoot. This way, if the artist wants to BS, they want to chill with their homies, they want to wait till their entourage get there, it doesn't matter, because at this time I'm leaving. So whatever we get is what we get. If I want to stay beyond that time to make sure the project is better, I have that ability to do so, but it would not be a mandatory thing for me to stay the entire time. That's one thing that I wish I would have implemented into my shoots the day that I started shooting music videos, because I would just sit there all day and just let them do whatever. Another thing that I wish I would have did to value my time is plan. If I plan to shoot, I got the location lined up, I got the model lined up, I got the wardrobe lined up, I got everything lined up. So all you gotta do is pull up, hop in the scene, shoot. We get it done, we do it a lot faster. And that in turn just would have helped things flow a lot faster and would have showed that I value my time a lot more than I did. If you're doing music videos right now and you're looking for one of the best plugins, I just collaborated with Motion VFX to make in-music video 2. Incredible plugin for Final Cut Pro 10 and DaVinci Resolve. Has a ton of different effects, transitions, all that good stuff. Make sure you guys check it out. It's gonna be a link down in the description. If you guys are interested in any other things that I would have done when I first started making music videos, make sure you guys click this link right here. Drop this video a like. But with that being said, I'm out, y'all. Peace.